let's get into, I suppose, the obvious one of the wine bar, your restaurant there in Galway. I'm very intrigued. Um, so for people in Galway would know that used to be Tartar, the old Tartar Cafe, which was very popular. And obviously you would have had a connection with that family connection. You would have kind of understood the business, and when they closed down, then obviously you went in there. Bring me back to kind of, I suppose, the like before you actually, I suppose, signed the lease and went in there. What was the kind of mindset like? Were you nervous? Because obviously it was a difficult time in hospitality, or what was going through your head at the time?
Of course, I was nervous. I suppose it's not just the difficult time itself, but like setting up your own business, going out there on your own, it makes you quite nervous. Yeah, but kind of like there's somehow the feeling as well, but drives you forward, and yeah, just to do your own thing, and especially when you believe in something that's like you are doing the right thing. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was like, yeah, super nervous, of course. But at the same time, it was just like, yeah, I just want to do it.
Yeah, because you were, I mean, you were a long time in the industry. Myself and yourself worked together many moons ago,
Quite a
across
long
the
time,
road.
isn't it?
Yeah. So it was obviously, I'm guessing, an ambition. Was it always an ambition for you that you wanted to do your own thing?
Always, no, I could not say always. I think there's something just like it's kind of like a feeling inside, but grows over time. You know yourself. I would say when we were working together, could you see yourself doing your own thing on that stage? No, I think it just grows over time, and then yeah, I suppose there was like then came the moment where um, the previous premises closed. It was there, it was up for sale, and it was just like, you know what, why not?
Yeah.
You just kind of like, just let's try it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so how long you open now? How many years?
Years, months. I still count in months because it's what 19 months now, so just bit over a
Right,
year and a half.
right, okay. And so in terms of, I'll ask kind of the hard question now. Like in terms of like the industry, I'm not in the industry now, so I probably kind of just see from the top down. But that time I remember like there was a lot of like media attention you had. There was a lot of big campaign around the VAT that time, and there was lots of places closing. I still see obviously there's loads of challenges, but we're obviously as someone that knows it inside out, the kind of challenges that the industry faces and the difficulties of running a business. How much is it harder now than it was then, or what's your kind of take on it?
I would say yes. I would say from financial perspective, surely margins got thinner over the last while. It is in a certain way more challenging, but then again, is I believe the restaurant industry somehow is always quite a challenging environment.
Yeah.
It's never going to be just straightforward. So yes, it's never going to be plain sailing in that sense, and therefore are the better and worst times to open a restaurant. Yeah, maybe there was a while back, a few years ago, probably a bit easier. Yeah, but once you have the love, and you want to open a restaurant, it's simply what you want to do. And I always believe in that. I believe that it doesn't matter how hard times will be. There will be always people who are in just because they love what they are doing, and there will be always new restaurants opening.
Yeah. What are the rewards for you? What would you see? Obviously, there's plenty. We could talk about kind of the challenges and difficulties all day long of running any business, a restaurant, definitely. What are the kind of rewarding aspects for you? doing what you're doing.
Being here on any night and seeing a bunch of happy faces, people who are submerged in their conversation over a nice glass of wine and nice food, I think all over that's the biggest reward. That's
Yeah.
that's kind of tops anything else. That's
Okay.
yeah. Just like when you put a nice glass on the front of someone who just never had any wines from Georgia, Slovenia, Austria, and then they try it, and it changes the perception on wine, as well as having the beautiful food what Attila puts on the table. Again, just speaks for itself, and that makes people happy. And yeah, I think that's seriously biggest reward,
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
doubt.
Class. No, I love that. In terms of a couple of weeks ago, you were on was it Manchester, London? You were on the stage for you won the Michelin award, personal award, and it was obviously quite cool to see up there. Was that from a personal perspective? Was that that must have been kind of fairly high up there in terms of your own achievements?
Of course, it is. Do I see that as an achievement? Of course it is on a one way, but on the other way, it's not that this is an award what you can't like work for. It's not like unlike other distinctions like achieving, let's say, a bib gourmand. That's you can work on that.
Yeah.
You can create a framework for that. The Sommelier of the Year award is not, it's just magical, because they pick one person per year for the whole UK and Ireland from the Michelin Guide, and that's it's not that like you can go out there and say I want this award, that is just I create a framework for that, but you just do what you do, and then suddenly something like that comes through the door, and it's just it's something else.
Yeah. And how did that whole thing go down? So I assume you were told, like you knew that you were going to win it, or
Nope.
or how did that?
No, I've well, working in a Michelin environment for many years, I should have known better, because the invitation carried my name, so therefore I should have known. But even then, I would not have thought for a single second that could be the reason why I'm invited. So it was a huge surprise when I was sitting there in Glasgow, and suddenly this massive room full, just beautiful, with the best of the best chefs what UK and Ireland have to offer, and suddenly my name was up on the screen. I was just
You must have thought you had a few too many glasses of wine.
Yeah, I was just like, wow, I was absolutely speechless.
Cool. In terms of the kind of the Michelin Star, is that something that you guys have an ambition for? Is it in your thoughts, or
no?
No.
We are very happy where we are with the bib gourmand, because that is, I think it really reflects where we would like to be and we want to be in terms of nice wine, nice food in a super casual setting. I think that's rather reflects us as a wine bar.
Yeah. If you won a Michelin Star, would that be fantastic, or how does that work? Because obviously you'd have an idea of that.
Of course, like if a restaurant gets a Michelin Star, that is, from my observation and my experience, it is a huge financial advantage. It's like that will accelerate and increase the business very quickly. Of course. So that is something for any restaurant which gets that.
Okay.
It's a big win. Absolutely.
Right. Okay. Last two ones for you, Zsolt. And it's great to chat to you. Other businesses, is there any other business that you kind of admire? I'm sure there's loads of them, but any standout ones that you'd really kind of look up to?
In terms of restaurants,
business, food, just anyone that kind of stands out that you kind of like, you really like the look of, that you would often kind of look, I don't know, admire or look at.
There are many places. In terms of, if I look at wine bars, all across the globe, there are plenty of those places which is like, kind of like admire what we do, like restaurants. Oh, definitely. Yeah, but could I pick like one specific one that I say, oh, that's the one? Don't think so, because there are so many interesting places doing really interesting stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Right, let me finish up on this one. In terms of the future, so I mean, what's the ambition for you guys? Like, do you have ambitions to open more, a second restaurant, second business, or what's your thought process there in the next few years?
That is quite an abstract question, I think, because you see, like, because we only are open for a year and a half.
Yeah.
This baby still needs to be able to stand on its own feet and walk on its own feet. Anything else what the future brings, that's I don't know. That's it's a bit too far down the line at the moment. We want to make sure that Daróg is working the way we want it to work, and due to the fact as well that it is quite an environment where we're constantly changing something. It's like everything is just evolving, so we really focus on that what we have at the moment. And
it's probably like it's probably not even in the mindset, right? Because you're so focused on, just as you said, it's a good analogy about like a baby. And it's
still very, very new. It feels like we are there for a long time, but it's like 19 months. That's all.
Yeah.
So it's still new.
Yeah. What last one in terms of your obviously your food is just really high level, and then you have the wine. That wouldn't really be my kind of area of expertise. I always kind of look at food and stuff. What's like when you look at the business, like, where do you see yourselves excelling, or maybe is it kind of like, is it both? Do you focus more on the wine? I'm sure you're probably going to say you focus on both, but like what's your kind of real USP for the business?
Wine is my passion.
Yeah.
But then you can't have, if you open a nice bottle of wine, or you're having a nice glass of wine, you want some nice food with it. So it is hand in hand.
Yeah.
And then of course the service, like creating an environment where just that it's really nice to sit down and have a nice wine and nice food. So probably you can depict like just the one from the other. It's a package.
Yeah.
And I think that's how it needs to work, as a package altogether. Like each aspect has to be taken care of separately, but it can't be seen separately because it's a one unit.
Interesting.